All right, y'all, back to war. Boy, what a wild 24 hours. Got that big pop up, that big drop back down, and we're basically right back to where we left off in last night's video. Now, the good news is this, though. We have one of my top 3 all-time favorite chart patterns setting up right now. Every once in a while, the higher time frame and the lower time frame line up perfectly, and we get this chart pattern we call a slingshot reversal. Now, this slingshot, the way things look right now, could make our entire month because tomorrow's the final day of May. So I want to cover the entire roadmap, the strategy in tonight's video, entries, exits. We'll talk about some variations and things in case things get messy tomorrow. But I'll tell you, I'm very excited for the final day of the week, the final trading day of May tomorrow morning. So charts are ready. Enough of the intro. As always, thank you so much for tuning in and watching my videos. Now let's go make some more money and finish up the week and the month of May. S&P SPY ready to go tonight. Nasdaq triple Qs are always ready. I have 4 important clues on these charts that are telling me where I think the money is made tomorrow. One of the 4 clues, first clue on the hourly time frame, the higher time frame, we are bullish overall on the S&P SPY, bullish overall on the Nasdaq triple Qs. I like to use these hourly time frames as a directional filter. So right now, our direction is clearly bullish. The second of 4 clues is over on the calendar for tomorrow. There's 4 things on my mind for tomorrow. First thing, personal income at 8:30 Eastern time. That is the Fed's favorite gauge of inflation. We know Jay Powell will be watching that report tomorrow morning. So should we. Consumer sentiment tomorrow at 10 o'clock Eastern time. We know the inflation expectations aspect of that report has been a big market mover. Both of these have the potential to be a big market catalyst, so be aware of that tomorrow. The third thing on my mind for tomorrow is tomorrow's the final day of May. And whenever we go into the last couple days of the month, we always expect more volatility. So use proper position sizing accordingly. And of course, the final thing for tomorrow is everyone's waiting for more updates regarding trade talk, regarding tariff talk. We saw the court rule last night. The appeals court gave it back today. So there's going to be some more headlines tomorrow, and that is something we're watching very closely tomorrow morning. So end of the month volatility, personal income, consumer sentiment, and what the heck are they going to do about these tariffs? We're going to find out either way, that's for sure. That's our second clue for tomorrow. The third and fourth clues are back on our charts right now. The higher time frame hourly gives us direction. Let's now drill down to our faster time frames, our tick charts. Tick charts are better for entry timing. Compare a tick chart to a time chart. The patterns are so much easier. And by the way, if you're watching for the first time right now, that is a 7,000 tick chart. All the time frames in the upper left-hand corner. And that moving average, that's the only indicator we need to find lots of winning trades each week. That is the 21 EMA. Now, this is where the slingshot reversal all comes together. We have a third clue. It's a bear move down into a trading range. Now, why would that be a big clue? Well, because ranges, they love to rotate back and forth, right? Now, think about this now. We are bullish overall on the hourly time frame. This is where a slingshot reversal comes together. As it rotates back and forth, as it goes lower, we oftentimes get that bear trap off that low, and it slingshots up of that low. Now, there are 4 different ways to structure the entry on a slingshot reversal. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. Don't you worry. We'll cover some variations in case things get weird around those 2 big news reports tomorrow morning. Final clue, though, one more important clue I don't want to forget is that we have this lonely breakout pullback zone down here. Now, if you watch my videos a lot, you know anytime we see a range breakout, it's just a matter of time before they pull back for a breakout pullback. Now, with some big news tomorrow, this may seem a bit unrealistic right now, but big news tomorrow, would anybody be surprised if we see a strong shot down, tag that breakout pullback, and slingshot off of that low? None of us should be surprised if that happens tomorrow. That range from earlier on in the week, breakout, and pullback. So we know breakout pullbacks are very common. So keep your eyes on that 43 level. We'll show the same level on the Nasdaq here a bit later. So let's talk about now how we trade that slingshot reversal, because I want to make sure everyone is ready for tomorrow. When I think of a slingshot reversal, I think of a bear breakout going lower. Remember, we're bullish overall on the hourly, right? So this is not a great place to be selling. It's a great place for a bear trap. I'm going to use what I call a two-try failure, a two-try bear trap. Bears once, bears twice, higher high. Remember, always a higher high. Why? Because now I know where their stops are. Now I know where their pain is. Now I know where I can buy right into those stop losses and really juice that slingshot reversal going higher. Now, as it rotates higher, remember, all that momentum now will want to slingshot up off that low. We know the amount below. We know the amount above. We know now where that market now wants to go. Now we start adding to our winners. As it slingshots off that low, we now look for, very important, please pay attention, separation off that moving average. When I see separation, that means the strength we have is there. Higher high in price, and I'm adding to my winner as we now complete that slingshot. Now, usually what happens in these scenarios is now after that slingshot completes, now we're way high up right now, and we don't want to buy high. So now we start looking for ways to buy low. When I look for ways to buy low, I look for a two-legged pullback. Ideally, not always, but ideally, it's about a measured move. Now watch closely here. That will put us below that 21 EMA. I'm going to do the same thing. Bear trap and add on again. Get underneath that moving average, trap those bears once, trap those bears twice, and squeeze those stops. Again, think bear trap here. Squeeze those stops, and if we're lucky, we'll get that add-on again. That shallow pullback, that higher high in price, and that move right below that low. Now, we might get only one or two of these. We might get all four of them, right? But this is kind of the dream scenario for tomorrow. We run lower. And again, it might go as far as that breakout pullback, so what I mentioned there a few moments ago, but a bear trap down there. Add to your winner. Remember, during a range rotation, add to those winners as it rotates. And again, one of the most important things is if you miss it somehow, don't chase after it. Two-legged pullback, get underneath that moving average, bear trap, and add on from there. Well, I get kind of goosebumps just talking about this right now because we've seen a lot of these have happened in our trade room recently. So that's the core setup. Now, let's talk about some variations of this because we may not get that dream scenario for tomorrow. For example, a lot of times we don't get that bear trap entry down there. A lot of times what happens is we'll get that run down, especially if it goes all the way to that breakout pullback zone. But a lot of times, guys, it'll make a strong run down, and we're not going to get the 1-2. It'll just whoop and run right back up again. So if that happens, you have to have a game plan, a mental game plan for this. So if that happens, it'll pop up and start grinding, and my goal will be to get in underneath prior swings. It's so important that when it V bottoms like that, I want to get in underneath those prior swings and get in during that slingshot. If we're really lucky, it'll come right off the low of a channel. We'll drive trailing off the highs, bring it off that low, right? See what I'm doing here? That channel combined below that swing, there's nothing guaranteed in trading, but that's about as close to a guaranteed winner that I know. That range wants to rotate going higher. If it does keep ripping higher here, we're going to keep on looking for ways to keep on adding to our winners like the sequence showed you early on, right? So a V bottom be a variation of that slingshot, same basic idea. Now, I have a couple more variations of this I want to share with you. But before we dive into those though, let's slow down for a second because I know most folks watching right now, you guys know these patterns already. You know why we love slingshots. You're making money with these with us in the trade room already. But if you're watching for the first time right now, this might be a brand new strategy for you. Don't you worry though, I teach this entire system in my free trading classes. In fact, I have a ton of examples, bear traps, add-ons, a bunch of slingshot reversals. We cover all the details in our free video classes. Guys, I want to help you time better entries with this stuff. I'll put a link up top here for you, upper right-hand corner. corner, hit that link that popped up there and take that free trading course, because the strategy I teach in that video course will teach you a simple trick we use in our members trade room that literally tells us exactly where the winning trades are going to be each day. It's amazing how simple it is. More importantly, I want to teach you my 4 favorite entry setups so you can time better entries, make a lot more money. Guys, bottom line, the markets are way too good right now not to be making consistent profits. So if you're still missing the best entries each day, if you've lost your confidence in your current strategy, what are you waiting for right now? Hit that link that popped up there. Take that free trading course. You're going to love all the trade examples I include in that short video series. The best part is it's all completely free for you. Also, too, guys, keep in mind, too, I'm going to put all the important links you guys need to learn this strategy, time better entries, get your confidence back in your trading. Most folks start making money all on their own, all from that free video course. So grab that link. I'll put all the important links below the video tonight, the description. Oh, and by the way, if you're on Twitter or X, I post a ton of charts and videos and mindset stuff on Twitter X during the day. If you're on the X platform, give me a follow. Again, I'll put all the important links you'll need to learn more and hopefully earn a lot more all below the video tonight, down the description. All right, where did we leave off here? Okay, so we talked about the dream scenario. I talked about the V bottom scenario. Now, let's cover 2 more variations, and then I want to talk about if we go higher here. Because what if we don't get the slingshot? What if we don't go lower? What if it goes higher first? Well, I'll tell you, that could be a bull trap up there. That could easily be a fake out breakout up there. I want to give you guys a game plan on that. We'll cover that a bit later on this Nasdaq. Now, let's say, for example, we see big news tomorrow and we get a really strong rundown into that breakout pullback zone. I like the idea of trapping those bears in once and twice and squeezing those stops. But remember, a couple things, right? First of all, ranges. They love to break out pullback, right? And strong moves like that, they love to retest for what we call the retest trade. So if we get this a real strong rundown, again, we got personal income tomorrow morning, we got consumer confidence tomorrow morning. So I will look for that bear trap down there. And like I teach in our free video course, I always use a 1-to-1, right? So stop, target, stop moves up to point of entry. This will be a winning trade. Most of these bear traps down here are winning trades, but instead of getting that rip and that slingshot higher now, the bears hold the underbelly of that range and we go one more leg going lower. Now, I'm going to warn you right now, this will feel like a reversal. But please don't forget the hourly time frame. We're way too bullish right now on the hourly. That's why the hourly is so valuable for me, because it keeps me focused on the right direction right now. If we see a retest of that low, most cases, that strong rundown, the bears that get in short right here, they're taking their profit at that low. Now think about this. Anyone who sells right here becomes a buyer right down there. They take their profit on their short trade. It's very important that you understand that dynamic. Is this a good place to sell? No, it's a horrible spot to be selling. We love these retest trades, by the way, in our trade room. If you remember mine, you know how much we love a retest trade in overall bull market. So now, once again do it again. These are oftentimes our biggest winners, because now all those bears who sold short there, the rookies think we're now reversing. It's not a reversal yet, right? So 1, 2, get those bears trapped in. Remember, I don't pick tops and bottoms. And I wish there was some indicator that was consistent enough to rely on this. But I've been doing this almost 20 years now. I've yet to find a divergent signal or tape reading this. It doesn't exist. My way to do it is I run stops, right? Because stops, squeeze those stops and run higher. And this retest trade, this may be the spark, right? That lights that fuse and gives us that massive slingshot reversal going higher here. So same basic idea, right? Same basic idea. It retests the low, we bear trap them in, we buy right into their stop losses, and we add to our winner as it slingshots off of that low. Now, I do want to talk about going higher here, but first things first though, what if we can't get there, right? What if what happens is what if all we get is a shallow pullback right now? For example, I love to go nice and low, trap some bears in and squeeze back up again. But what if we saw something like this? What if it takes out that low? What if it takes out that low and then starts going higher here right now? See, this is a tough one because now we're not really buying very low, right? It's a retest trade, but it's not my favorite entry. What I'll do is I'll make a small adjustment. If all we get is under that swing or that swing, again, I'm going to see a nice big move down first. If all we get is a shallow move lower, I'm going to make a small adjustment. I'm looking for 2 tries here again. Bears once, bears twice, but now I don't want to buy up there. Right? That defeats the purpose. I'm trying to buy low, right? That's not buying low. So whenever I have a shallow pullback like this, I look for now what is a technical trap pattern like I teach in the free video course. You'll know what I'm talking about if you go into the video course I mentioned earlier there. A technical trap pattern. Again, it's still 2 tries, but the higher up I am, the more concerned I am with buying too high right now. Now in these, like I teach in the video course, I want to see a nice green candle closing above that moving average, and we're in from there. That may be, again, a shallow pullback. We can trap those bears in and then watch for, once again, right? Watch for that shallow pullback going higher high in price, and we're ripping higher, trying to rip higher back up and take out these big highs up overhead. So some slight variation of this. This one is definitely not my favorite one, but obviously, right, we'll take whatever the market gives us. I don't control the markets or know exactly what will happen tomorrow. I just know that when I have a bullish overall market on the higher time frame and a bearish range on the tick chart right now, as it rotates lower, watch out. Those things love to rip and run higher. Speaking of running higher, what do we do if we go higher here? Let's talk about some variations going higher right now, because in all reality, there could be a bull trap sitting up there for you up around the highs there. Over on the Nasdaq right now, as you can see quite easily too, you can see that, boy, I love the bull channels we see right now on these higher time frames. This is also, of course, on the S&P as well. It looks like, boy, we might end up rolling lower, tag that channel and slingshot right back up again. As always, I don't want to get too far into the weeds on this hourly time frame because for the most part, I'm only using it for the overall direction. We're going to dive into the tick charts here in 2 seconds. Before we do that though, if you're enjoying this video tonight, please help me grow this channel by hitting that like button and make sure you subscribe, will you? I know we're all busy people these days. I know you guys have a million things going on right now. I appreciate you guys tuning in, carving some time out of your busy schedule and watching my videos. So thank you so much for the likes, the shares, subscribes, all the support I get in the comment section below. So as always, thank you guys for all the support here on the YouTube channel. Now, I promise I'm done begging for likes here on the YouTube video. Let's now talk about the Nasdaq right now. Again, Nasdaq pretty straightforward right now. We're bullish overall on the hourly, bear move down into a range. And like I said earlier, that breakout pullback zone, it looks lonely down there. And again, if you're a student of mine, you know, it's just a matter of time, right? That range right there, it's just a matter of time before they find a way back to that area. Again, pretty much all ranges will end up breakout pullback. And we saw that beautiful 2-legged pullback we talked about a couple days ago, right? So we should be aware of that. Almost all ranges will come back to a breakout pullback. So that one is at 28,083. And again, it seems a bit unrealistic right now, but believe me, when we see personal income tomorrow, consumer confidence tomorrow, yeah, that could easily rip lower and slingshot back higher again. So as we mentioned earlier, going lower, it's the same game plan, right? It's the same bear trap down here. It's that same add-on as we go higher. And again, the key on this one is as we slingshot off of that low, I don't want to chase after it. We then start watching that 2-legged pullback, right? Think that measured move and buying that 2-legged pullback from there. I'm not going to go over all the details again on that stuff because the same thing we mentioned earlier there on the S&P. Now, if we go higher here, if we go higher before we go lower, be careful of the fake out breakout. All right, because what do ranges do? Ranges love to rotate, right? So if we go higher here, be very careful. Don't just assume we're going higher. We're breaking out here. This could easily rotate higher and then kick right back down again. Okay, remember, the amount we go above the range, amount we go below the range. Look at this one back here, right? That was a range we saw earlier on in the week. The amount above the range, the amount below the range. Is there any surprise? What everyone bought that area right there. So just one warning here, right? Just because I'm looking for a slingshot right now doesn't mean I can get aggressive buying a breakout right now. Okay, it can easily run up, slingshot back down, pendulum, and then bear trap back up again, right? So keep that in mind for tomorrow. However, if we see a breakout and we start seeing that, what's the trick? The trick is separation. Separation's always the trick. If it pops up, pulls back, and makes that new higher high, again, that shallow pullback, that's the giveaway, right? The separation is the giveaway. When that happens, we start looking for, again, what is a technical trap pattern, like I teach in the video course. Now remember this, breakouts. The breakout leg is always the measuring leg, okay? Breakout leg, measuring leg. Breakout leg, measuring leg, okay? Now, the goal right now is to easily go back up and take out that big high on both the Nasdaq and the S&P. But a great place to take a profit target on the way up there is to use that breakout leg, measuring leg technique. I would also keep your eyes on the underbelly of these overnight ranges last night. Again, the S&P has the same thing as well. So it does look like a great place for a profit target going higher here. If we can get that bear trap entry right there, is again, the measured move, the underbelly of that range, and of course that high of day from late last night. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind is, what do we know about ranges? They love breakout pullbacks. So now, all of these levels of resistance now, they now become key areas of support. And like I mentioned before, my kind of favorite breakout pullback is always a two-legged pullback, right? So it's one, it's two. It isn't always a two-legged pullback, but it usually is, right? Sometimes one leg, but the best ones, guys, the best ones are one, two. Again, think about a measured move, and the goal will be to combine that two-legged pullback along with one of these prior highs, right? One of those prior highs. Now that will give us location, but as always, I'm not going to waste our time by talking about indicators or some magic tool. They don't exist. I'm going to look for traps, right? Look for bear traps here. Bears once, bears twice. Trap those bears in, squeeze those stops, and that in most cases now will make our way up to take out that high. And again, good idea, profit off at the underbelly of that range, right? The top of that high right there, top of that big high right there. This is a classic breakout pullback, right? If you ask me, look up the word breakout pullback in the dictionary, and this is what I think of breakout pullback, right? It's the separation, it's the measured move, right? Breakout leg measured move. It's the two-legged pullback. It's the bear trap off those prior highs. Man, love some breakout pullbacks. Now, let's talk about two more variations, because again, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what tomorrow will bring. I'm doing this because I want to make sure my mindset is right if I do see one of these variations for tomorrow. For example, a lot of times we'll pop up and start grinding and just start grinding up, and we never get the entry. We never get a chance to get in below prior swings. If it grinds like this, I'm going to warn you right now, that voice in your head is going to tell you, come on, dummy, get into this thing. You're missing this. Okay, we have to learn to ignore that voice in our head and trade this channel pattern, right? Mark that trend line off the highs, bring it down off that low. And as always, the goal on these grinders is to always get in underneath a prior swing. Ideally, it'll be right around the low of that bull channel. Now, unfortunately, I can't teach all the entry patterns we use in these YouTube videos. You'll learn more details of the entry setups in the free video course. This could be a bear trap. It could be a pullback combination, a strength move if we get the right signal and the amount of space going higher here. But remember, first test is always the best test. First test below a prior swing. That is a gorgeous setup for tomorrow. And the final one going higher here, and this, by the way, could happen after a slingshot move too, if we pop up and go into a range up here. Remember, ranges are the easiest to trade. If we pop up and go into a range up here, because of course tomorrow's a Friday, end of the month, big news tomorrow. We might get chopped up in a range. Remember, ranges love to rotate. And if we call stacked ranges, what that means is we have multiple ranges, right? We had a range here and a range here. Remember, the most recent range is the magnet. That's the one that we trade rotation. And the previous range is a breakout pullback. So if we understand, again, we're overall bullish, so we're biased right now to the long side. If we pop up into a range right now, think about this now. We break out below that range. Now, this is not what I would call a slingshot reversal. A slingshot reversal is a bear range that runs lower. Again, bear range, bull market, right? Bullish overall, bear range, right? That contradiction, right? That opposite, that's what makes this thing so powerful. This would not be a slingshot scenario, but it is a rotation scenario where now we break below that low, we trap those bears in, same idea with that bear trap, that two-tribe bear trap, and we, again, you could say slingshot, where we rotate off of that low. And as always, right, that amount below, the amount above, great target in that scenario. In these trades, I'll take half off at the top of that range, a quarter off at the pendulum swing, leave a quarter, right? Leave a quarter there for that runner. And as always, remember, if we do pop our heads up higher here and we go into a trading range, remember that fake out breakout off the high and then back down again. Don't fall for those fake out breakouts. You really got to get, it has to break out and start to separate off that moving average before we can start looking for a breakout pullback off of that range. But don't take that fake out breakout bait, right? Don't be a victim of that bull trap above, below. I wouldn't complain about that trade one bit either. All right, guys? So that is the game plan for a slingshot reversal tomorrow. I gave you guys my dream scenario, some variations of this. What do you think, guys? I would love to know your game plan for tomorrow. Let me know down in the comment section below. Always love hearing your feedback and appreciate you guys tuning in and watching this video tonight. The game plan set for tomorrow. Now, speaking of tomorrow, every morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time, the place to be is in our trade room. I'm going to put all the important links you need to learn the roadmap, get your confidence back, right? Time better entries, get more consistency in your trading results, get your mojo back, get your account back in the green again. Again, you're going to love the free video course. You'll love all the trading examples in there. So start there first and then come join us sometime soon in the morning trade room and we'll do it together. All right, guys, in the meantime, have a great, great Friday. Make a bunch of money for me tomorrow and finish up the month of May. In the meantime, be well out there. Be nice to each other, will ya? And you better be here next time, right? Adios, amigos. Bye for now.